Be careful out there, guys, because the floor is really slippery with all these wet leaves around. And if you're not careful, you could fall into a bookshop. And when you're standing back up, you could pick up 7 or 8 books on your way. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife, and today I am taking you through all of the books that I have acquired over September and October so far. There's a couple in here that probably should not be. I tried to put myself on a book buying ban September and it just did not work out in my favor. But it definitely means that I have got some things that I need to show you and some sins that I need to atone for. First up is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I had my eye on this book for such a long time. And then when it was one of the host favourites for the Fable and Readathon, I knew that it was time to pick it up. This is about Mika, who is one of the only witches in the UK, and it's a very secretive life. Not a lot of people know that you can be a witch, but she is called to come to Nowhere House one day to be basically the tutor for 3 young witches and show them how to control their powers. This is such a cozy and autumnal book that I feel like is the perfect transitional read when you're going from September into October, and it was one that I devoured in seconds. Going straight from spooky season to Christmas, I also picked up Make the Season Bride by Ashley Herring Blake. This is Christmas lesbians, and that's kind of all I needed to know about this book. It's about Charlotte, who is living in New York and was left at the altar 5 years ago, but life has kind of started to pick back up. She's in a 4-piece band called the Rosalind Quartet, and her bandmate Sloane has invited everyone in the band back to Colorado for Christmas, so they're not spending Christmas alone in Manhattan. Charlotte takes her up on the offer, and when she is back at Sloane's family home, it turns out that Adele, who is Sloane's sister, has brought her friend Brighton along with her. Brighton is the exact same person that left Charlotte at the altar 5 years ago. The two of them now have to pretend that they have no history together, that they have never met each other, and to make sure that Christmas isn't a lot more chaotic than it usually is. However, when you get 2 exes back in a room together, sometimes they can get back together themselves. I also got a copy of Calla by Colin Walsh from a friend of mine. We met up for breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and she basically threw this book at me and told me that I needed to read it for 2 reasons. One, because she needs it back before Christmas so that it can make it onto her best books of the year list. And 2, because there's a character called Aoife in here. And if anything is going to sell me a book, that's going to be it. This is about Joe, Helen, and Mush, who lived in the small town of Kinloch in west of Ireland. They were inseparable as part of a group of 6 friends when they were younger, but Calla, who was one of the main ringleaders of the group, disappeared in mysterious circumstances. 15 years later, Helen, Joe, and Mush are back in the community for Helen's father's wedding. Joe is a world-famous musician, and he is also back on a family holiday, but Mush has never left the community, and he's never really strayed too much further than his mother's cafe. In a small woods near the town, some human remains have been found, and 2 other girls in the locality have gone missing. This is going to open a whole host of questions about where is Calla and what do these remains in the woods have anything to do with that. I am so intrigued by this book. She did sell it to me so well. And now that I know I have a deadline to read it, it's one that I know that I have to pick up soon. I was looking for a book that was going to take me pretty much anywhere across the world, so I picked up Lies and Weddings by Kevin Kwan. I absolutely loved the Crazy Rich Asian series. I love his kind of cutthroat satirical writing, and I'm pretty sure that Lies and Weddings is going to be full of exactly the same thing. This is about Rufus, a former supermodel on the catwalks of Hong Kong, the heir to the Earl of Greshambury, and he is swimming in debt. The only way that his mother can see him out of this debt is for him to marry a woman with money. So he goes along to his sister's wedding and tries to seduce basically any woman that he knows has got a huge bank account. His travels take him pretty much all across the world, from Beverly Hills to Marrakesh to Singapore to London, and I am so intrigued by this book. I also have a copy of Sex and Vanity that I need to get to because I think these are in some way connected, and I cannot wait to pick those 2 up. When I tell you this was one of my most anticipated books, that is not a joke. I went out and bought a copy of Think Again by Jacqueline Wilson pretty much the exact day that it was released. I absolutely adored Jacqueline Wilson when I was younger. She basically raised me from childhood to teenage years, and the Girls in Love series is one of my favorites from her. It was really cutthroat and it was really interesting to me as a young, relatively sheltered girl in Ireland to see 14, 15-year-olds living such a high octane life. This book is about Ellie, one of the three girls that we would have met back in the Girls in Love series, and life isn't exactly what she pictured when she was 14 now that she is turning 40. Okay, she's got her loving cat Stella and she's got her daughter and she still has her two best friends Magda and Nadine, but her love life is tanking and work isn't going so well either. But on the cusp of her 40th birthday, things start to take a turn that she truly wasn't expecting. I've heard some really great things about this, and I've heard some kind of mixed reviews about it as well. So I'm going to go into it with as much of an open heart as I can and just see what Jacqueline's adult writing is going to be like. Then we have a couple of books that my aunt gave me when I was back at home over the summer with my family. My dad kind of took claim to them first and then sent them out when he was finished. First up is Don't Look Back by Joe Spain. This is about Luke, who is surprised by his wife Rosie with a second honeymoon a couple of years after they get married. So they have been spending an idyllic week in the Caribbean. On their last day, Rosie sits him down, takes him by the hand, and tells him what happened before they left London. A strange man broke into their apartment and Rosie killed him. There is a body lying on the floor of their living room in the apartment back in London, and now everything is going to turn to chaos when they get back home. I have never read a Joe Spain book before. I have got a couple of them on my Kindle, but I am so intrigued and so excited to see if her books are going to fit for me. Finally is No One Saw a Thing by Andrea Mara. This is also given to me by my aunt, and it's following Sive, who takes off to London with her husband and their three kids when he is going to a class reunion about 15 years or so after he's finished university. Sive is off to meet with her editor because she's just come out of maternity leave, so she wants to get back into the swing of things. She and her two daughters are walking onto the tube together while her son is in his pushchair, but the two girls get on the tube without their mother and brother. Sive starts to panic, but all of the staff at the tube station tell her that don't worry, they will get her to the next tube station, they'll make some announcements, and they'll make sure that the two girls are on the platform when Sive gets there. When Sive does get off that tube, only one of her daughters is waiting for her there. This turns into a who took my child, where is she? And there's also a whole second plot about all of Aaron's friends that he had known from university and the kind of antics that they used to get up to together and the things that they are getting up to now. This is a really interesting thriller if you're looking for something that is high paced, high speed, and that is definitely going to keep you gripped the entire way through. Those are the books that have just recently come into my possession and that I cannot wait to get reading. What is the most recent book that you have bought this year? If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me the face emoji that has the $sign sticking out of the tongue. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.